The biggest issue lingering over the wide receiver position is the status of Justin Jefferson, who is officially questionable for Monday's game against the Bears. If he's going to play, the Vikings will have to activate him from Sunday. But as of the sending of this newsletter, we have no idea what the plan is here. Jefferson was limited throughout the week and talked about he still doesn't feel like he's 100% back to being himself, so I'm leaning toward him not playing. If you have K. Osborne or Brandon Powell, I suppose you could wait on Jefferson for Monday and slide one of those guys into your lineup. If he doesn't play, but in both leagues where I have Jefferson, I'm just starting Chris Godwin ahead of him. T. Higgins will miss his third straight game due to this injury. And unfortunately, with Burrow out, I'm not really interested in starting Tyler Boyd in his absence. Boyd had a huge game in Week 10 with Higgins out, but had just 3 catches for 22 yards in Week 11. He's more like a WR4 with Browning starting for the Bengals. The rest of the WR position is in pretty good shape as of Sunday morning, or at least doesn't have a lot of important lingering questions. Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham both look like they'll play, and Beckham is a boom or bust. We're 3-4 against the Chargers, while Marquise Brown is a WR3 with the expectation he'll play through the injury that held him out of practice a few days this week. Noah Brown will miss his third straight game, which should keep Tank Dell and Nico Collins at the top of the hierarchy for C.J. Stroud against the Jaguars. The Chiefs will be without both Kadarius Toney and Mecole Hardman, which at least in theory opens up more opportunities for Rashee Rice. Toney and Hardman were averaging just 4.3 targets combined over the past 4 games, so it isn't a huge impact. But anything that might help Rice to fantasy relevance is welcome. He's in that we're 3-4 range. Week 12 wide receiver rankings. Keenan Allen vs. Bal, Stefon Diggs at 5. A.J. Brown vs. Buff, Jamar Chase vs. Pitt. Cooper Kupp at Ari, Puka Nacua at Ari. Michael Pittman vs. TB, Adam Thielen at 10. Mike Evans at Ind, Davante Adams vs. KC. Chris Olave at ATL, Tank Dell vs. Jocks. Devonta Smith vs. Buff, DJ Moore at Min. Christian Kirk at Who, Jordan Addison vs. Kai. DeAndre Hopkins vs. Carr, Calvin Ridley at Who. Chris Godwin at Ind, Cortland Sutton vs. Clay. Deontay Johnson at Sin, Nico Collins vs. Jocks. Marquise Brown vs. Lar, Josh Downs vs. TB. Amari Cooper at Den, Drake London vs. No. Rashee Rice at LV, Rashid Shaheed at ATL. Jacoby Myers vs. KC, Zay Flowers at Lack. George Pickens at Sin, Jerry Jeudy vs. Clay. Demario Douglas at Nig, Trenton Irwin vs. Pitt. Khalil Shakir at Phi, Gabe Davis at Phi. Odell Beckham at Lack, Tyler Boyd vs. Pitt. At Perry at ATL, Rondale Moore vs. Lar. Elijah Moore at Den, Tutu Atwell at Ari, Zay Jones at Who. Wan'Dale Robinson vs. Any. Jonathan Mingo at 10. Quentin Johnston vs. Bal, K. Osborne vs. Kai. Darnell Mooney at Min, Devontae Parker at Nig. Robert Woods vs. Jocks, DJ Chark at 10. Nick Westbrook Ekine vs. Carr, Rashad Bateman at Lack. Juju Smith-Schuster at Nig, Jalen Guyton vs. Bal.